Jake Paul, who is threatening litigation against anybody who would dare claim that his fights are staged.
Oh,
So,
brother.
Jake Paul has been dealing with people asserting that his fights aren't on the up and up ever since he came onto the scene and started taking advantage of boxing against, um, either people who aren't boxers at all or boxers who are well past their physical prime and aren't actually still competing as boxers. So people have had a lot to say about that. Some people, a lot of people believe that the Mike Tyson uh, circus masquerading as a boxing match was predetermined. And so I guess Jake Paul is hearing the noise. He's a bit sensitive and in his feelings. And he is now saying that he is willing to sue people who suggest that his fights were not legitimate. So this says Jake Paul threatens legal action against anyone who accuses him of staging fights. YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul declared on Saturday via his Instagram story that he would pursue litigation against anyone who questioned the legitimacy of his matches. This claim follows recent comments made by Piers Morgan. If anyone says my fights are staged, you will be sued. And secondly, you're a jealous ass peasant who cannot even believe how good I am at this sport, and you should go to church to fix your insecurities. I pray for you because I have so much love. I pray for you because I have so much love for humanity, and that includes the people who are against me. Genuinely, I pray for you, and I want the world to be in a better place. You people are filled with a disease, and I'm here to help you cure it.
Oh, brother.
The issues between Paul and Morgan began in June when Paul left an interview with the British commentator. During the interview, Morgan said he doubted Paul could last 10 seconds against Mike Tyson at his peak. So I'm going to skip through some of those quotes because they're not really the point. Shortly after the interview was uploaded online, Morgan criticized Paul in a since deleted tweet. He called Paul's fights boring, staged BS and accused him of intentionally fighting older fighters way past their prime. He also called Paul's fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. an unwatchable farce, but swiftly deleted his tweet criticizing the affair. On Saturday, Morgan walked back his tweet, his deleted tweet. I posted a few weeks ago that Jake Paul's boxing career has been boring stage BS. What I meant is that his fights have been predominantly against older, past their prime opponents, which may be lucrative for both sides and may have entertainment value, but don't reveal how he stacks up against currently ranked boxers and therefore are not a good look for the sport. Blah 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 blah. Adrian Broner recently suggested an interest in fighting Jake Paul. As of writing, that does not appear to be on the table in a serious capacity. Paul is rumored to be in negotiations with Anthony Joshua. In boxing circles, he is broadly expected to be Joshua's next opponent. Joshua, a former two-time WBA, IBF, and WBO World Heavyweight Champion, has not fought since September 2024. There, he lost to Daniel Dubois by knockout. So Jake Paul is in his feelings and he wants to sue people who suggested his fights are staged. What do you think about this threat from Mr. YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul?
Well, I say for one, he's got enough guap to actually do that. He does, and he's been making bags with these boxing endeavors. Um, Me personally, when we covered the Mike Tyson situation, um, I don't remember exactly what my stance was, but today, I just think that boxing as a whole is is WWE. Um, I think while I was talking about that, I've seen stuff where like Mike Tyson compilations and his knockouts and stuff. Now, whether these people are just too scared to fight Mike or whatever, but sometimes he barely grazed the people, and they were out cold. And you know, Don King, the promoter, it's a lot of shenanigans going on. And and that was Mike, who I actually watched. But I've seen other fights and other things where people are take dives. Now, whether or not people want to call it fake or not, I don't know if there's some type of because WWE's real. I mean, mankind will bleed. So there's elements of realness to it. Take your pick, I guess. But to me, if there is some type of situation that goes on in boxing in general, I wouldn't be surprised. It's run by Vegas, and so the house wins uh, all the time for a reason. Uh, Nobody got that much luck. See, when you're talking about gambling, it's probabilities, and the house always takes a stand on probabilities, but the house always wins. Well, why would that be if there isn't some stacking going on in that deck? So I say that to say is that boxing is Vegas, much like the sports is, but boxing is Vegas. So if there's some shenanigans going on out there, wouldn't be surprised. It just wouldn't be. So this whole Jake Paul thing turning into a boxer, me personally, I never really looked at it as um legitimate boxing. I looked at it as circus boxing, celebrity fight night boxing, even though he might have fought real boxers. Who knows? I don't know. But I always looked at it as a sideshow. Fighting a geriatric Mike Tyson, that's a sideshow. That's man boxing kangaroo. I can't take this guy who boxes kangaroos seriously. So for him to get upset when people want to call out him boxing kangaroos, and it's like, well, how legit are you when you're doing these side quests and these weird little things over here? Like, how actual of a boxer? How nice are you? You're always winning. What's that about? Like, so people could have questions when you're behaving as a carny. He's just a very highly paid carnival act. And so I wouldn't I mean him with a real boxer, and they actually boxing. I don't know how that will go, but I'm sure it wouldn't go like the rest of his other boxing matches. So all in all, yeah, he can get upset about it, but people having questions about it is fair. Me personally, I don't give a damn. But I would say that as far as the whole thing that goes with boxing, UFC and all those other things, man, I've seen too much shenanigans. Where it's like that wasn't a real knockout or that wasn't a real whatever, to lead me to believe that not every outcome is genuine. So I would say that, man. But what are your thoughts, bro, on um, Jake Paul saying that he's ready to take legal action on people out here saying that he's not actually out here whooping ass? What are your thoughts, bro?
It's good that he has as much money as he does because he's going to be dealing with this until he's not trying to box anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of the way he got into it. He's not going to be able to sidestep that. So there's nothing he can do. He went from being a non-classically trained, not even good enough to be considered amateur, into and being a YouTuber and content creator. So he's parlayed all of that background into trying to box. From here on out, the result of any of his fights are going to be subject to some kind of ridicule because of the way that he got into it. Like all he had to like, I don't want to say all he had to do as if it's so simple, but if the way he got into boxing was, training from the ground up, running the amateur circuit, performing in the Olympics, doing it the way most boxers do, and now you're just coming up in the amateur and semi-pro circuit fighting people who are also training at that level, trying to make it to that point, and you're getting into those fights and you're taking your licks, you win some and you lose some, and then you start fighting actual boxers, none of this would be happening. But he got into it off of the back of his career as a content creator and started fighting exhibition fights.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is, bro. Like people are going to be suspicious of the result of your fights because of how you got into it. Um, Now I will, and here's evidence of that because I'll be perfectly honest. If he were to, hypothetically speaking, actually get a fight solidified with Anthony Joshua, I would say to myself that's legitimate because Anthony Joshua is legitimate. He's been in many fights. He's held belts as a heavyweight in several different divisions. Like he's definitely somebody to whom, if you fight, it's legitimate. But because I respect Anthony Joshua's career arc as a professional boxer, if him and Jake Paul were to fight and Jake Paul were to win, I would think that that was weird. I would.
Well,
So my point in saying that is Jake Paul is in a lose-lose situation here in terms of wanting people to believe that he's always on the up and up and legitimate in terms of his fights.
Mhm.
Because I've been watching boxing my whole life, and I find it very difficult to believe that an individual such as Anthony Joshua would lose to Jake Paul.
I agree.
I find that very hard to believe. Like this guy fought Vladimir Klitschko. You're not going to beat Vladimir Klitschko at some point in your career and then lose to Jake Paul.
Why not?
So in my opinion,
Yeah, I hear you.
if he were to lose to Jake Paul, I would be suspicious. I would. So I guess Jake Paul's gonna have to sue me too. So my whole thing is, bro, Jake, you need to stop fighting exhibition, stop competing in exhibition matches. Fight boxers.
Get in there.
Like just fight boxers, bro. This is not rocket science. You're complaining about people who think that your fights are on some weird stuff because you're not fighting actual fights. You're doing exhibitionism. This is not hard. This is not calculus.
Right.
Like this is basic arithmetic. You don't even need to fight marquee fighters. Fight professional fighters who are not going to command the A side of a pay-per-view match. That would suffice for a lot of people. Fight professionals who are going to be on undercards. I'll give you an example. A big fight is coming up, I believe, next month. Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. That's the fight. That's the biggest fight in many years, in my opinion. It's probably the biggest fight, in my opinion, honestly, since Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, in terms of the fanfare and the excitement. I know we've had some that have come since that, like Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. That one was pretty big in terms of the hype. But I think Canelo versus Terrence, to me, hype-wise, is a bigger deal, is the biggest deal perhaps since Floyd Manny Pacquiao. If Jake Paul fought another professional on one of the undercards of that fight, people would look at that legitimately. I think people would look at that legitimately, especially if he lost, because theoretically he shouldn't lose. Anybody who's on an undercard of a fight of that magnitude should beat Jake Paul, given Jake Paul's history as a boxer.
Correct.
So if Jake Paul were to lose, Jake Paul's going to come out of that scenario, no matter the outcome of the fight itself, a winner, because people will look at him a little more legitimately. But he's choosing to go the circus route, the entertainment route.
Right.
He's trying to circumvent the system to jump all the way to the front of the line as the A side and still at the same time be viewed as a legitimate boxer. It's not going to happen, bro. It's not going to happen. People are going to look at you sideways because of your approach to this situation. So I don't know what people expect, but it's good that he has deep pockets, because until he switches his operation up, people are going to continue to question the legitimacy of his fights.
Yeah, man, and that's my central point, man, is the carnival aspect of it all. I don't take it serious, and if I'm not taking it serious, I don't give a damn if it's real or not.
Well,
I don't
but to your point, even saying it, if you don't take it seriously, I
Mhm.
feel like by default it's not real. Like I guess it is real because it happened, but
Mhm.
if you're not if you're dismissing it as this ain't a serious thing, then it's like it is like by default kind of fake and didn't happen in a
Yeah,
roundabout way.
in a roundabout way, but just the mere fact that there is boxing that go on that I go that was a legit fight. And like I told you before, there's other fights where the guy clearly took a dive. Like I don't know the percentages. All I'm saying is that guy didn't get hit for real, and he on the ground shaking. So that happens in actual boxing. But when you're doing carnival style boxing, where you're fighting other streamers or retired boxers, and it's just this whole thing, and it goes through none of the regular channels of actual boxing that you mentioned. That there's an aspect of it that go, well, I don't care what the hell y'all got going on over there. You know, if it's fake, if it's real, in any event, I'm not. I'm on the same page with you in the sense of it's not legitimate from the aspect of you didn't go through the proper channels and the ranks and stuff like that to be actually heralded as an actual boxer. So yeah, you're coming off as an entertainer at a carnival. This is an act. That's how it comes across. And so I'm with you in the same sense that I'm with you in the same sense that um you know, there's certain contexts where he's just an absolute lose-lose, you know, because of the realm that he's in. You know, if you're over here and you actually fight a legitimate boxer and you win, people gonna be like, how you beat him, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, y'all over here on that sidebar stuff.
That's what I
You
would
know?
think.
And if you actually fight that guy that's supposed to whoop your ass and he actually does that, then you're like, yeah, typical. Of course, you're a streamer, you know. So he doesn't win either way. So same thing with the Tyson thing, where there was so much surrounding that. We weighed in that on that in a couple of videos. And so there's so much swirling around that stuff to the fact that it's like, well, if he beats Tyson, what does that mean? You know, and people have to start having those conversations. For me, I was like, you know, I don't know what'll happen. You know, if he actually beats Tyson. To me, I felt like if he actually beat Tyson or did a draw, whatever the hell that was that he did, you know, I felt as though that was like WWE. So real entertainment. So hey man, he's an entertainer, he's a streamer. His claim to his millions is being an entertainer. So for him jumping from one form of entertainment to another form, you know, I'm not surprised here. So, are you really entertaining? Yeah, you are. I'm not gonna call that fake. Uh, but these boxes matches, I can't call it. You know, I can't call it. To
Yeah.
me, and again, I don't care because of the context that it's in. So, yeah, man, actually get on some real cards, like you said, bro. Get in there and actually fight some people. Maybe people's tune to change.
I mean, it's the fact that it's an exhibition. I wasn't surprised. Like I didn't have to suspect foul play in order to concede the possibility of him beating Tyson. Tyson's 30 Tyson's 29 years older than this guy,
Right,
and Tyson does not train. So
right.
I feel like Jake Paul, who despite his exhibition status does train a lot. You got Mike Tyson, who never trains as a boxer. At 50, bro, Jake Paul is 28 years old. Mike Tyson's 59. Tyson's 31 years older than Jake Paul and doesn't train. So
Mhm.
it wasn't beyond the pale for me to concede the possibility that Jake Paul could win that. I didn't need to leap to the conclusion that there was something fishy going on with that result because of the extenuating circumstances. But
Mhm.
still, it doesn't that alone doesn't make me think of it any more legitimately, because at the end of the day, it's still exhibitionism. And it's still somebody who is a YouTuber fighting somebody who's 31 years older and never trains. It doesn't matter to me that he used to be a boxer. He's far removed from the sport.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it just doesn't matter whether it's legitimate or not in terms of any sort of a fixing or weird thing with Vegas going on. To me, that is the same result as it being purely for exhibition purposes, or to use your phraseology, WWE. Like, it is what it is, bro. He's not going to be able to sidestep that unless he completely deconstructs his entire strategy and rebuilds it from the ground up, in my opinion, by fighting on undercards of professional fighters. I feel like if he did that and he did it for a good 3 to 5 years, I think he could round himself into legitimate shape at that point. But he's 28, so he's already kind of old. Um, in boxing years, 28 is up there.
Yeah.
So for his, from that standpoint, it might be worth his salt to just keep doing what he's doing and making the money. But this whole, once again, victimhood seems to be a theme today. But him engaging in victimhood, suggesting that, oh, you need to look at me legitimately, bro, the circumstances that you came up in this make that point null and void, in my opinion.
I mean, just conduct the poll, bruh. I mean, just conduct the poll and just ask the U.S. population, how many people are buying it. And there's gonna be more people, or there's gonna be more people than he's comfortable with that isn't buying this stuff. And the reasons can vary. But at the end of the day, that's a lot of people out there that throw your stuff into skepticism. Hey man, everybody's not a 14-year-old kid. And these 14-year-old kids, yeah, they're eating it up, man. You know what I'm saying? The ones that grew up with Jake and the other one, Logan, they're eating it up, man. But everybody else don't give a damn what this guy got going on. And we look at him as a sideshow. So he can keep being that. He's some people's cup of tea, not mine's. But yeah, man, keep rocking out, man, because this guy's making millions. He's making millions doing this foolishness. So I guess more power to him.
There's plenty of real boxing where Jake Paul came from. Check out, if Tank Davis can stop getting arrested, you got Gervonta Davis, you got Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez is supposed to be coming back, I think. David Benavidez. There's a lot of great boxing going on, and people are willing to pay attention. Mm-hmm. But an individual such as Jake Paul does have an audience, and I think he should just appreciate the opportunities that he does have and stop crying about people trying to look at him as a legitimate boxer, because he's not going to achieve that unless he completely changes his strategy, which in my opinion, given his age, wouldn't serve him well. So he might as well just keep doing what he's doing and stop crying about people who think that his fights may have been fixed. You're still making $40-50 million per fight anyway. So, bro, just shut up and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%, man. Couldn't say any better myself.